To me, this is not a mystery. There is no conspiracy. The withdrawal from certain medications causes severe brain zaps, and this in turn can cause a person to think and act irrationally. While this can't be determined conclusively, why is there a need for a giant conspiracy on the internet for the cause of Elisa Lam's death? People just like to create drama where it may not exist. Although I would recommend Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, it's far from a perfect documentary. There's quite a lot wrong with this case and with the documentary, but if you can look past all of the fluff, then it's not too bad. On the plus side, while it adds nothing to what we already know about the case, it does put Elisa Lam's story back in the media, and that's something that I imagine her family would appreciate with keeping her memory alive. Lam went missing while at the Cecil Hotel in LA, in downtown LA. But I feel like the case itself and this documentary put far too much focus on the hotel and not on the people who were staying there at the time. Do we really need to know about the background of the Cecil? A little, yes, but this is overabundant. We do hear some interesting things from detectives involved in the case, though, and how they approached the operation. However, we also hear thoughts from people who are not professionals and who had absolutely nothing to do with the case. I didn't care what the English couple had to say, as nice as they seemed, or what the YouTubers thought. Similarly, people probably don't care what I have to say. These opinions are great in social media settings, but not in a so-called professional documentary. Elisa's not portrayed as particularly likeable either. Why aren't they focusing on the fact that she had to be moved to a different room because of her behaviour? I find it odd that they didn't really look too much into that. The voiceovers for her Tumblr posts really irritated me too, although that's not her fault. There's definitely a sense that if Elisa were offered drugs, for example, she'd take them just to say she'd had the experience. She does seem like the kind of person who wants to experience everything life has to offer, which for the most part is a really positive personality trait. Somebody did suggest that she might have been on LSD when she was in that famous elevator clip, but they didn't really look into that anymore. To my knowledge, they didn't interview anybody on the streets to see if anybody had offered her any. I realised that not many people would be forthcoming with that kind of information, but it's always worth a try. Of course, the documentary didn't suggest they looked into that. It doesn't mean they didn't. With the elevator footage, it's definitely interesting, but I've seen it everywhere online. It's 4 minutes long. This documentary didn't need to be much longer than that. Just a little more to say what happened to her after the fact. I won't say what that fact is, in case you're not aware of what actually happened. Would I recommend this documentary? Well, if you've not heard of Elisa Lam or anything, or you know anything about the case, then by all means you might find certain aspects interesting. As I said, I also like to hear from the detectives. The toxicology report was interesting, but again, it was inconclusive. If she'd stopped taking her medication, then surely this is where the focus should be. Withdrawal can have significant negative consequences. It can cause poor decisions to occur. I'm speaking from experience as somebody who's been on antidepressants for a long time, but has had periods of not taking them by my own foolish decisions. And it does cause you to think irrationally. That bit was quite interesting, and I wish they'd actually focused on that, as I truly believe that that is where the problem is. Other than that, though, this was really a colossal waste of 4 hours. I think maybe it could be condensed into 1 hour long documentary, maybe an hour and a half. There was no need for 4 almost hour long episodes. I kept hoping they were going to unveil some golden nuggets, some piece of information that might change the direction of the case, or make it seem like there is more than meets the eye, but nothing. It's almost as if it's blaming the hotel itself, forgetting that there are people in there, and we get to find out about none of those people. By all means, watch this if you like true crime, but don't expect anything meaningful.